Hi, this is Trey Pastor. Mr. Nightmare. I'm doing another reaction to Mr. Nightmare. This one is called Three Scary True Lost Phones / Laptop Horror Stories. Okay, so let's see what this one's about. I love these stories. They creep me out. I'll be right back. Okay, let me put my headphones in. Okay, here we go right now. Go. Lost Device Horror Stories. Story 1.
A few months ago, I treated my girlfriend to a vacation in Paris.
Ooh, cool.
We stayed at some hotel called Hotel Atmospheres. My job allows me to work remotely from my laptop on my own hours.
Okay.
So at some points during our couple days there, I would sit in the lounge of the hotel by the Wi-Fi area to get my work done. My phone started to ring. It was my girlfriend calling me.
Okay.
As I picked up the phone, I went to the nearby room where the coffee was and poured myself a cup. My girlfriend was calling me from the room, talking about the things we should do that day. When I walked back to the lounge area where I left my laptop, I got a sickly feeling when I realized it wasn't there anymore.
Oh boy.
I went first thing to the lady at the front desk to ask her if she'd seen anyone leave the lounge area with a laptop. She apologized and said she hadn't seen anyone. I asked her to check the cameras, to which she responded with there not being any cameras in the lounge area, and that she was also not in control of the footage that the cameras caught.
Oh.
She would have to get in contact with her manager, who was not working that day.
Okay.
She offered I submit a lost or stolen property form. I was absolutely disgusted with the service and planned on having a word with the manager the next day. I had no choice but to go back to our room and angrily vent to my girlfriend.
Okay.
She tried calming me down, saying there was nothing we could do about it, and that it was best we just go out and enjoy the vacation I was paying
Exactly.
for. As angry as I was, I had to accept that she had a point. We both turned off notifications on our phones so we wouldn't be distracted,
Okay.
something we usually did on vacation.
Okay.
Then we went out and explored a great amount of the city, did a little bar hopping, then got back to our hotel late at night.
Okay.
It wasn't until we finally crashed into bed that I opened my phone to check for new emails and texts and such, since I couldn't do that on my laptop now. When I was going through my email, I realized every single email I'd received that day was opened. This included emails from work and a couple relatives. I started to panic because I knew how much delicate information I had in not just my email account, but my whole computer, which was signed in when I left it.
Oh.
I basically had all my personal information saved on that computer, including home address, phone numbers, personal pictures, passwords, credit card info,
Yikes.
bank account info. I was a fool for leaving it unattended to for even a
Exactly.
minute. I immediately changed all the passwords to my emails and other important accounts. That didn't matter for what was about to come, though.
Oh boy.
After opening my messages app to check my texts since I hadn't been all day, I noticed text from an unknown number. It was a bunch of pictures that were saved on my computer. Bad, personal pictures that I wouldn't ever want anyone to see.
Oh boy.
Then there were pictures I didn't remember taking. Pictures of a hotel hallway
Oh.
and a hotel door.
Oh boy.
It was our hotel door. There was also a picture of me standing at the front desk talking to the lady about my missing laptop.
Oh.
It was taken from behind the glass door at the entrance of the hotel.
Oh.
Under all of the pictures was a text saying, "I have all of your info, including your address and your current hotel room."
Oh.
This was sent using an untraceable phone number. Don't bother contacting the police.
Oh.
The rest of the message basically demanded I pay a certain amount of Bitcoin to a specific Bitcoin wallet address, or else.
Yeah.
It literally said "or else." I'm not even fabricating
Yeah.
this. I didn't know what else to do besides show my girlfriend the messages, as well as the embarrassing pictures. She started to panic more than me,
Yeah.
and she honestly just made me even more tense.
Yeah.
I left the room to go to the bathroom to think. He was asking for $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, but even if I paid that, I had no reassurance that this person wouldn't share those pictures, or keep my laptop, or do God knows whatever "or else" meant.
Exactly.
I decided I wouldn't pay the ransom.
Go to the cops.
My girlfriend agreed with my decision when I went back to bed. Of course, I was not tired at all anymore, neither was my girlfriend. We sat up, leaning on the headboard of the bed, talking, thinking, and worrying for a couple hours. Then there was a knock at the window of our hotel room. We both gasped. Well, my girlfriend more so let out a short scream.
Yeah.
I turned off the lamp so that whoever was out there couldn't see
Okay.
in. I also shut the shade completely. I didn't bother trying to look out there to see who it was. I assured my girlfriend we were safe, though. She whispered we should call the cops
Exactly.
or inform the front
Yeah.
desk. I told her we would if the problem persisted.
Just call him.
I then told her to go to sleep. Meanwhile, I stood in the middle of the room watching over her, while also looking back at the window. I got a text. I looked at my phone, and it said, "I'm looking into your room right
Ah.
now. I'm not playing games." Then there was another knock at the window.
Oh.
I decided to just grow a pair for a couple seconds and open the shade to see who was out
Oh.
there. I pulled the shade open. I couldn't see who it was, but there was someone standing on the other side of the glass looking in.
Oh.
My girlfriend screamed. I told her shh as I pulled it back shut. We packed our things and went to the front desk, telling the lady about the whole situation and requesting another room on one of the upper level floors. She said she would alert the authorities and gave us a room card to another room on the third floor.
Oh.
For the rest of the night, we slept close together. Well, I didn't sleep. I was awake all night waiting for a knock at the door. Morning came and the manager was in. So she took a look at the footage from the previous night. And of course, some guy with a baseball cap covering 90% of his face went into the lounge as soon as I left it to get coffee, then walked out with my laptop.
Okay.
There was only one camera that actually caught the man in the act. She said she would forward all video footage with that man over to the police. We were out of there. I blocked the number that was texting me. I had to accept defeat, but I didn't want to think about it anymore. There was nothing I could do about where those pictures would end up or some random person having my address. I canceled my credit cards and changed my passwords.
Okay.
There wasn't much else that creep could do. However, what really motivated me to share this story with the internet was the fact that 3 days ago, I got a letter in the mail without a return address.
Oh boy.
It was addressed to me, and it was a short, straight-to-the-point note saying, "I hope you haven't forgotten. I have all of your information still."
Oh.
It was a horrible reminder that someone out there with bad intentions has not only my address, but my pictures, my phone number, and my name. I've been sleeping with one eye open these past few nights.
Jeez.
If anything happens, I will update.
Jesus Christ, that's creepy. Oh, that's creepy.
There was a time a few
Oh,
months ago
God.
that my good friend actually lost
Story
her
number
phone.
2.
I'm her best guy friend, so she hit me up on her sister's phone when she realized that whoever had her phone was reading her messages but not responding. I practically reprimanded her for not having a password on her phone. I suggested using Find My iPhone,
Oh, boy.
but she didn't even have that enabled for whatever reason. I met up with her and decided to text her number. I sent a text saying, "Please return my friend's
Oh.
lost phone." Within seconds, it said the person read my text, but they didn't respond. So a minute later, I sent a more aggressive follow-up text. I said, "We can see that you're reading our messages. If you don't respond, we will brick the phone, track it, and it will be
Okay.
useless to you. Please return it now." The person read it right away and said, "Good luck." This
Exactly.
infuriated me. I tried to
Okay.
respond, but apparently the person turned off the phone.
Sir.
There wasn't anything we could do now. She had Find My iPhone off, so we couldn't even report it as lost. I tried to make her feel better and took her out for dinner. When we got back to her house, a light upstairs was on and the garage door was open. "Are your parents home?" I asked her. "Maybe," she said, "but they weren't supposed to be back from their trip until the
Oh,
next
boy.
day." We went in through the garage door, and she pressed the button
Maybe.
to close it. Then we went from the den
Call
to
the
the living
cops.
room, and she called out for her parents. One of the doors upstairs shut. We could see and hear it. The way her house is arranged allows you to see some of the doors upstairs from the living room. The door wasn't shut forcefully, though. It was shut quietly and softly.
Okay.
Ashley looked at me, and I could see fear in her expression. I told her wait there. I'd go upstairs and check. So I went slowly up the stairs, down the little walkway, got to the door, looked down at Ashley one more time, then opened it. The room was dark now. I looked for the light switch in the room, but couldn't find it. So I said to Ashley, "Where's the light switch?" Then she screamed, "Oh my God." She said that she had her address and the code to the garage saved on her phone. It took me a second to put together what she was implying, when just then, someone grabbed my arm from inside the room and tried pulling me in. I screamed and tugged away from the grip. I started to slam the door over and over on the arm that was pulling at me,
Oh,
eventually getting them to let go. I heard grunting on the other side. I must have done some damage.
yeah.
I told Ashley to run as I came down the stairs. The front door was only a few feet away, so we got out safely. We got into my car and I called the cops right away. We sat in front of the house in my car the whole time, making sure whether to know he left the house or not.
Jeez.
The light upstairs turned on, and 5 seconds later, whoever it was walked to the window and just stood there for a while. Couldn't tell what he was looking at, nor could we see any facial features, but I did snap at least 10 pictures to show the police when they were to arrive. Then, the guy just walked away from the window
Jesus.
and the light shut off. Minutes later, 2 cop cars with their
Yeah.
lights on came speeding down the road and stopped in front of the house. I showed them the pictures before they entered the house, and we waited in my car. The cops were in there a long time. They did a seriously thorough investigation of the house. They came back out to assure us it was safe to go back in. We thought for sure they would be able to track the phone now that it was used as part of a crime, but to our surprise, they said there really wasn't anything they could do without Find My iPhone enabled, or the phone actually being on for that matter. All they said we could and should do was change the code for the garage lock. I had to figure out
Yeah.
how to do that for her, but still after that, I let Ashley sleep in my house that night.
Yeah.
When her parents got back the next day, she felt a lot safer. She got a new phone the next day, and we never pursued finding her stolen phone any further.
Jeez. That was creepy.
March 8th, 2019, on a Friday night.
Ah.
Me and 5 of my college buddies had a
Okay.
little night out. Not anything crazy. We just got dinner at some nice restaurant,
Okay,
then we
story
hit a
number
dive
3.
bar in the same block. We got a few drinks, played darts, and within a couple hours we were out. It wasn't until we left the bar that I realized my pockets were feeling kind of light. I checked both of my pockets and realized I didn't have my phone. I told my friends to wait as I ran back inside to look for it. I checked the seats at the bar, at the area by the dartboard. I even asked the bartender. He hadn't seen it though.
Oh boy.
A couple of my friends came in, and I asked one of them to call my number, but quickly realizing that was kind of pointless in a loud, crowded bar. I asked the bartender to please call my number if my phone were to turn up. Sadly, I knew that was wishful thinking. We traced back to the restaurant to check the table we sat at, and I asked the staff if they had any missing phones. None. So it was safe to assume my phone was taken by someone at this point.
Okay.
But I still remained hopeful that maybe the bar or restaurant would call me the next day. That night, when I got home, I started cleaning myself up, getting ready for bed. For some reason, it took me that long to remember I could just use that Find My iPhone feature. I would have to sign into iCloud on my computer to use it. But when I was all signed in and everything, that little map came up on the screen. I was confused when the phone was showing up as right above my house. For a second, I felt excited, like maybe I had the phone on me the whole time. I checked the pockets of the jeans I was wearing, but it wasn't there. I had no other pockets, and I knew 1000% I had my phone with me at some point in the restaurant. So, how could it be at my house?
Okay.
Maybe someone left it at my front door. So I went outside and checked the stoop and the mailbox. It wasn't there either. Either way, it was insanely late and I was exhausted. As long as it said my phone was currently at my house, I figured I'd find it in the morning and figure out what happened. So after coming back inside the house, I did one last loop around the house, turning off all the lights and going upstairs. I sleep with the door open because I live alone. At some point, before finally climbing into bed, I heard a rattle from downstairs. It sounded like the pots and pans rack being banged into. I tiptoed downstairs. I saw that there was a light on down there somewhere. The light was leaking ever so slightly into the living room. I got to the kitchen and no one was in there, but for half a second I could see the light from my sunroom on.
Okay.
I turned off just as soon as I noticed it. I walked through the kitchen to the glass door that led to the adjacent sunroom. I would have to walk inside of
Okay.
there to turn the light on, and there was no way I was about to do that. So I just went as close to the door as possible and looked inside.
Oh boy.
I came close to screaming out loud when I could make out two figures standing in the darkness that was my sunroom. They were both standing nearly identically the same way,
Without a weapon.
arms and legs kind of spaced out from their bodies to give an overall wider appearance to their stature. It seemed as though they had their backs to me, as I couldn't see their faces, only blackness,
Oh.
which I assumed was their hair. I ran to grab the kitchen phone to call 911. I reported a break-in, so the operator said there would be police arriving
Jeez.
shortly, who would sneak up to the house, find the point of entry for the intruders, and apprehend them. The operator said the police would call me if they needed to, and asked me to hide in a closet and wait there until I heard the police downstairs. Then she told me to hang up and stay as quiet as possible. Waiting in that closet felt like it was taking centuries, mostly because of the tension of waiting in silence and motionlessness, expecting and dreading hearing any kind of noise. And actually, I did. I heard loud clonking footsteps coming from downstairs. They were coming up the stairs. They got louder and closer. Pretty soon they were near to the outside of the bedroom, but I never heard them enter the bedroom. I heard doors opening, doors to every room upstairs, until finally the door to the bedroom I was in opened. I balled up as little as possible in the corner of the closet, tucked under a blanket to hide myself.
Oh.
The closet door opened, and I felt my heart in my throat at this point. I did my best not to move, even though I felt my life flashing before my eyes. The door to the closet shut, and I heard footsteps leaving the room. Then I heard two pairs of footsteps go downstairs. I felt it was finally safe to move and breathe. After a few minutes of
I can
silence,
imagine.
the next sounds I heard were the voices of police officers yelling downstairs. I jumped out from the closet and rushed down to them. They entered through the sunroom, actually, apparently the same way the intruders did. There were a total of 4 police officers in my house. The 2 intruders seemed to be gone, which was no surprise, one of the officers said. Usually the intruders would be out of the house before the cops arrive. So one of them had a notepad in hand and was taking down notes for my description of the whole night. They even took down the specific details of my phone and reported it as a lost item to somehow help with the case. After that, the cops left, but assured me there would be a car patrolling the area all night. The next day, I found my phone left on the kitchen counter. I figured they must have left it to avoid being tracked any further, because it was useless to them. My 2 friends joked around that the 2 intruders were simply trying to return my phone and that I should find them and thank them. Nothing has happened since, but it's hardly been a month, so I'm still kind of uneasy about sleeping in this house.
Ah. I can imagine. Those are creepy stories, okay? That was creepy, okay? That was truly creepy, especially that that last one was creepy, but that first one with the dude taking your laptop, the guy must have been looking for it. The guy must have been stalking you. Not was stalking, but just hanging around. And as soon as he saw you get up and leave it, walk away from your laptop, he must have swooped in real fast. Jesus, and he's threatening. Man, he's trying to threaten you. I don't know. That's creepy, especially when you came knocked outside the window of the hotel room. I don't know, and then you actually had the courage to lift up the thing. I would have called down the hotel and said, "Tell them to call security. There's somebody banging outside my window." Like that. But if you open up the window like that, snatch his ass in there and start messing him up. But then I don't know. It depends, I guess. Depending on how your adrenaline going, because it's easy to say you just snatch him up, but you know your heart could be beating a mile a minute. You could be scared as anything else. But instead of I don't know. But that first time when he's knocking on the window, you just pull the shade down, and you saw him, and then you pull the shade down, and then you tell your girlfriend, don't worry about it. And then you banged again, and then you call the, no, I would, like I said, pick up a weapon. I don't know if a weapon in the hotel room. Maybe you can pick up a lamp or something. You can crack him upside the head with it. Open up the window if the windows open up, that is. Because sometimes the hotel rooms, the windows don't open up. Jeez, that guy, he really, really wanted that money out of you. Cause, I mean, and then he even sent you the letter after you got home and stuff and changed your passwords. He sent you a letter saying he's just to terrorize you even more. Jesus. I hope they catch that guy, because that guy just, that's, what a bastard. Just to do that to some random stranger. Just, what a real creep. Okay. Anyway, like I said, that story and the last story were creepy. I had to go to the first. Well, I'll say the third story first because those two guys could have killed you in there. I mean, with the guy that was stalking the guy. I mean, sure, he had your laptop and all that stuff, but you could have called the cops and ended that real quick. Instead of he waited a little bit too long. The first guy, instead of contacting the authorities, you should have contacted them immediately. I know you're in a foreign country and stuff, but you should have contacted them immediately, especially when you find a hotel room and they have, only one camera surveillance. So, but anyway, I'd say the first story, the third story first, then the first story, then the second story. That's the order of creepiness for me. Anyway, let me know what you think of order of creepiness. Which stories was the creepiest? I will leave a link to Mr. Nightmare's channel in the description box, so you can check his channel out and sub to him. Great videos. I love reacting to his videos. I'll probably react to a few more of his. Okay, so anyway, I'll leave a link to that again to his channel in the description box, so you can check his videos out. I also have links to my social media in the description box: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I also have a link to my other channel, Pause Views and Opinions. Please check that out as well. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long and take care.